Hello friends! Welcome back to Stories and Stitches. I'm Jada. I've got these very basic little hair clips today that are crying out for some fancy beadwork. Something that says spring, summer, warm weather, wear me to the beach. And who am I to not oblige a couple of poor, boring little hair clips? So I'm gonna work on designing one today, and if it works out well, then maybe I will try and make a second one that looks exactly like it or is similar. At least uses the same colors. That's kind of the plan. I really don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again, but if it makes a match set for my hair, I might make a small exception. I'm not going to make it very big because I don't want it to be heavy, because I've been doing all this beadwork lately, and like those beaded appliques that get too big might be a little too heavy in my hair. I don't want my head to be kind of getting weighted down. So they're going to be small. I'm going to just go with a colory vibe. I'm not going to do anything specific. I have nothing really planned. I'm just going to see where the beading takes me. So to that end, I have covered the craft table with beads and sewing paraphernalia. I've got some felt because I'm going to base everything on felt. I've got the two clips. I've got a cup of tea. I've got good company. Let's go to the craft table and let's look at some beads. Okay, yum. Oh, I mean, where do I even start? So I've got oodles of glass beads, lots and lots of little ones. I'm thinking that spring is pinks and lavenders. I've gotten white, obviously. I mean, that's kind of like Easter. I don't have a problem with it being Eastery or springy, but I've got lots of nice like spring Easter colors. I've got some sky blue, I've got pale yellow, I've got pink, lavender, peach. I've got a whole bunch of pretty little colors in here. I've got more peach and purple, pinky purple in there. I have a whole bunch of new hot pinks, which I feel are kind of summery, which I might try to like work in because I love pink. I've got lots of white. I've got some iridescent blacks. I've got, greens, a few different colors of greens. I've got orange and more blue. So I think I'm going to go with like that whole springy kind of feel, which is saying, I don't know, as far as thread's concerned, I've got this hot pink and I've got blue. So these might be the two I go with today. So I might get those out. I might use purple. You know what? I'll just keep this close at hand. I'll see where I start. And I've got some felt. I also found these. I have these little, I think they're stone or something, but they're these little cut beads that are in the shape of a leaf or a feather, and they've even got like nice little cut work in them. Let's see if I can show you a little closer up. Oh, you know what? The reflection, you're not going to be able to see it because it's so bright in here. Maybe if I just move it a little bit, you can see that there's cut marks in it. Anyway, it's in the shape of a feather. I think it's a feather, and it looks like I've got 6 of them. So I don't plan on using them, but I just found them while I was digging through the beads, and I thought, maybe? I don't know, because feathers are in again this year. I see a lot of designers using feathers, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is to just get into the beads and have some fun. So I'm going to grab my beading needle. I think that's my beading needle, or is that my, it doesn't matter. I'll use this one. Get this to the side. I've got some nice thick white fabric here, which I'll probably cut with different scissors and not my little embroidery scissors. And I was thinking I was just going to start with a circle. You know what? Let's just, so this doesn't get lost, let's do this. I was going to just start with a circle or maybe a teardrop. I like the shape of the barrette. I didn't want to completely cover the barrette or the clip. I didn't want that specific shape, but I kind of do like a teardrop shape. But a circle would be nice too. So you know what? I'm going to cut a square, maybe a circle. Tell you what, let's start with a triangle. And let's see how big this is. Now remember, I don't want, this is going to be in my hair, so I don't want it to be like over the top. So like a teardrop might be a nice shape, but a circle would be cute too. And I don't think it matters if you see like the black of either end of the clip, because my hair is really, really dark, so I don't think it would really show anyway. And I'm kind of leaning towards like a little circle. So you know what? I'm going to make a circle. I want a circle. I'm going to make a circle. And just so I kind of future-proof this project, I'm going to cut out a second circle that's exactly the same. So if I do like the way the first one works out, I can make a second one exactly the same there. That feels circular. I just eyeballed that, so that's not bad. So let's try that with this. But first, a sip of tea. Nothing like an afternoon tea. Tea and crafting with friends. It's the best. So I'm going to use the first circle as a template. Do my best to cut this out and make it identical-ish. There. Okay, so 2 circles. So that one will go with that one, this one will go with this one eventually. And you know what? That almost covers it completely. I think that's a nice shape. It'll be rounder when I'm finished stitching. All right, let's get into it. I'm gonna start, do I start with yellow and make it look like a flower? Yes, already my brain says flower. So let's go with yellow in the middle. I'm gonna start with a simple single bead and then I'm gonna do a ring around it. And I'm just gonna start from there. So maybe I'll end up using this orange instead. Let's make it look like a flower. Yes, let's. So what are you all working on this afternoon? You don't have to be working on anything, really. If you just want a bit of company, I'm here for that. I will provide the creative, somewhat silly commentary on this little project I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm going to start in the center and work my way out. My plan was to do this all fancy, like stitch it to the thing. I might still stitch it down, but I'm also leaning into possibly just using glue gun. We'll see. I'm not really there yet. Oh, Dizzy, you're finishing your star blankie. Nice. That is going to feel good to be done. All right, there is my first bead down. I think I'm going to stitch that down twice just because it's the very first one. There we go. Okay, so if I'm doing a center, I'm going to use all the same color, I think. Let's just see what that looks like. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that says middle of a flower, so let's do that. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. Hello, Charlie, my dear. Good evening. I want to do some crocheting, but my fingers don't work at the moment. Well, then just relax. Have a cuppa, and maybe just soak in a little bit of inspiration. I do that when my limbs don't want to cooperate, which they occasionally do. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and very frequently it shows up and doesn't want me to do anything. So today it is on holiday. I'm very grateful for that. So already I'm thinking this might have been better with white thread, but then again, a little bit of orange peeking through isn't the worst thing, is it? No, you know what? I want white. I'm going to get my white thread. one moment, my dears. Let's dive into the craft cupboard. I thought I was going to use orange, but I don't want that thread to show at all, I've realized. So there you go. You never know what's going to happen here. I'm taking all of that out. I want this to be, I really do want this to be a pretty, I don't want it to look like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want it to look, immature is not the right word. I am happily immature, thank you very much. But I don't want it to look, I guess I just don't want the thread to show through. Or if it does, I want it to be the right color. So when you make it yourself, you can make it however you want. I am stitching my own story, and my story says no to the orange thread. Becky's in the house! Hi, Becky! I have a whole jar of those barrettes in different sizes. Hello, everyone. Well, there you go. You've got the biggest part of this nailed down already if you want to make one. I've got a lot. I go through, I think a lot of us are like this. You go through phases. You wear your hair one way and then you wear it a different way. I definitely have worn my hair in a way that needed barrettes before. And then for a while, I didn't need to wear my hair in a barrette because it was really short. And then it was growing in and it looked really cute. And then I went through a whole phase where I didn't want barrettes in my hair at all. And now I'm back going, you know what, I have all these little wispies. I've always had little wispies, and I'm sort of, they drive me kind of crazy. I don't like them all floating in my face. And that time of year is coming when I want to have the windows down when I drive. Air conditioning is lovely and all, but there is just something about feeling the air in your face when you're driving and the weather's gorgeous and the sun is shining and you're on your way to the beach or something. Oh, well, I don't want those little hairs flicking me in the eyeballs, so I'm going to clip them back, and I want something pretty to do it with. Okay, take two. Here we go. Charlie has osteoarthritis. Yep, it is brutal. Getting old is not for the faint of heart. Okay, so I'm going to do exactly what I just did with that sort of center bead, and then I'm going to ring it with the other little beads, just like I did, but this time I'm using the white thread so you can't see the thread, and I feel like that will look better. It'll take all of the attention away from the thread and put it back on the beads, which is where I want it. So here we go. Back up and running. I'm the same, Dizzy. I have a lot of fine hair, but because it's long now, if I have it back in a ponytail, the clip will stay in. If I don't have it back in a ponytail, then yes, it might want to slide out. But especially now that this is going to be kind of on the heavy side, I think. But typically I have my hair back in a ponytail, especially when I'm driving, so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to go through here, here. There we go. All right, that's a nice little center. Sip of tea while I consider my bead options. In fact, let's all have a closer look at this. So, oh wow, I've got all kinds of extra string back here. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, don't want that to be fuzzier. Again, it's so bright, and now this is against like white. I don't know how to show you this. I just kind of slowly turn it. You can kind of see the contrast changing there. It's 6 beads circled around one in the middle. So I feel like that, how did I do that? Again, who cares? I feel like that's a nice center. It kind of looks like the middle of a flower. So from there, I'm going to add probably pink, let's be honest. Question is, do I make it petals? Yes. Wait. Would that make it want to flop forward? It's an experiment. You know what? I think it says flower. I'm going to do flower. Let's try flower. Okay, so I'm thinking, I really like these pinks. These pinks are calling to me. They're these lovely, rich pink. And I wear a lot of this color, so let's try this. My thinking is this. I make a cute little, maybe 5 or 6 petal flower. Goes out on a bit of a, I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't even draw this first. I'm just gonna eyeball this entire idea because it doesn't have to be perfect. Flowers are natural things, and even though they kind of look perfect at a glance, they aren't really when you get closer to them. They shuffle their sizing around to make room for their neighbors, which is so polite of them. Is that going to be too big, the 3? Should it just be 2 up top? We'll do 3. And then I'll come back up through here. I'm literally drawing with beads. I'm throwing them everywhere at the same time. So I'm thinking that I make a little flower with actual petals, and then I kind of cut away, obviously, the excess felt. That's my plan. So far, so good. Let me try another petal. Let's see how far I can get with this. Interface. Yes, sorry. I think you said that the last time, didn't you? You know what, Dee? Keep saying it. It might get through my thick skull at some point. Penny has spotted our neighbor. Well, let me get a couple of these in. I think this actually might look kind of cute. I also like being able to kind of correct where my beads lie by sort of doing that little backup stitch. Oh, you know what? I think this is going places. This might do it exactly what I want it to. I think I might do 5 petal flower. Maybe? I don't know. Stop thinking, Jada, just do. Don't think, just bead. Don't think, just bead. There's a hit song in there somewhere, I'm sure of it. Could reverse the colors on the second one. Dizzy, I like that idea. It would definitely look like a matched set. Also, good use of the beads because, you know, you might have more, you might have the same number of beads of both colors. I don't know. I literally didn't plan this. I have no idea what I've got. I do want this to kind of curve a little bit though, so maybe there. And if I reverse the colors, I'll be sure to use the same amount of both. I like that idea. Very thrifty. Thrifty in a good design way. well, that's 3 petals. I think I'll be able to get 2 more. And I think those will fit quite nicely. So let's see how I go. I will have to reload my needle here in a second. Kind of zipping through the thread a little quicker than I thought, but who cares? I think, so I used a thicker felt than the last couple times, to Dee's point about interfacing. So I'm kind of hoping that the felt will be heavy enough and the beading light enough that I don't require something like interfacing, but I do have interfacing. Also, you could just put cardboard underneath it too. Like, let's face it, you're probably not going to throw your hair clips in the washing machine. I'm going to knot this off now. There we go. And reload. So I'm going to go right about here. I'll get this initial outline done, and you know what? Oh my gosh, I've got smaller versions of these beads, exact same color in the same bin. So that kind of works out beautifully. I can fill the inside of the flower petals with the exact same color, but with a smaller bead, so it'll be easy, it'll fill in better, in theory. And then that leaves me room for one more. Holy smokes, that worked out. Let me just get this little petal outline done, and then I'll give you guys a close-up. You can sort of see what I'm excitedly chattering about here. Yeah, we're getting somewhere now. So I think the sizing of this flower will be based off the center, and of course the size of the beads. So the little heart, the circle that I cut is less important that they're both the same now, because I'll definitely be trimming back. I'll be trimming it back to suit the rest of the flower. Like, I won't have this much around. Wow, that is working out better than I anticipated. That's nice. Almost made a butterfly. Really? Do you see butterfly there? I guess with four petals and maybe a longer, you know what, a butterfly, Dizzy. That's a great idea too. So that, now take away all the white, you know, background. I'll trim that up, and I'll probably use it. I'll trim it up, and I'll do a little mini blanket stitch all the way around the edge. Not only will that give it a bit of stiffness, I could stitch some interfacing to it too. It's small. I don't think it's going to flop in my hair. But I've got my embroidery floss here, so I can do that. I can finish it off with that. I like it. Okay. And I can sort of fiddle with the sort of the where the beads sit as I fill in the center bit. Okay. Pleased. So, sip of tea, and now I'm going to fill in the middle. And I'm right here. So let's start here. So yeah, I've got all these little tiny ones that are the same color, which I think is going to look really neat on the inside. And they fit over my bead, which is great. A bunch of beads spilled into the other pan, so I think I'll take this opportunity to grab them. Because it drives me crazy when they all... I know beads want to party, but you know, they need to party in their own little trays. So one, maybe two there, maybe two. All right, so that's simple enough. I think that suits. Let me see here. All right, let's go over here. These blue ones are pretty too. All right, so let's go. We mostly got rain. Oh, well, we mostly got snow. snow, snow, and more snow. It melts a little bit and then it comes again, and then it melts a little bit and then it comes again. I'd say we've probably had, no joke, a few meters land altogether. I mean, it melts a little bit and then it comes back, but for sure a couple meters, because it's just been nonstop. I think I might be able to fit one more in here, maybe two. Yes. Woohoo! All right. Aw, this is really looking cute. I am pleased. And you know, relatively quick, and also very springy. Nothing says spring like a flower. I think I can squeeze one more little guy back in there. And then I think I can do two in the middle. Yep. Gee. I think I'm almost at the point where I've got to reload my needle again with thread. Might be able to do one more little pass here. There it is. Okay, and we're going to knot off. All right, reloading. White thread was the right choice because it matches the background, so it doesn't show up like it does Like I think if the background was yellow, using white thread would show up, and white and yellow thread would have been the better choice. But because the background is white, this makes more sense. So I'm going to come in here. I think I can get a couple more. Hey, Shell, how's it going? You're not late. I'd say you're on time, but there really is no time here. We're just hanging out. I'm making some hair barrettes. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm not making the barrette. I'm making the decoration that's going to go on the hair barrette. And I've almost got the first one made, which is a bit of a stunner, considering I didn't know what this was going to look like 40 minutes ago. 15 degrees Celsius and dry. Oh, Charlie, that sounds like lovely spring weather. Oh my goodness. We're still hovering around 0, and we'll be hovering, we'll kind of be oscillating. It's March, so we'll be oscillating between like -10 and +2 for like another month or so. But we should hopefully be getting more sunshine. I don't mind the cold if I've got sunshine. Can I get 3 in there? That is a slightly squished little petal, so maybe a few shorter. I'll get 2 in the middle though. Oh, no you don't. Come here. Alright, I can definitely get 1 more in there. There. Well, I like that. Okay. So, I'm just going to tack down that bead and knot off. That is possibly the fastest little beaded thing I've done yet. Question is, can I reproduce it a second time? Yeah, they do make good little kind of yarn securing clips. I haven't used them like that myself. I think typically I try to when I'm finished with a ball of yarn, I try to whip out the yarn winder and respin it so that I've turned it into a small manageable cake, and then I just tuck the end back up underneath some of the outer spun yarn. I try. I also stick a lot of shorter ends into my little Ziploc bags. Okay, so here's where we're at. There's a few yellow beads in the center that are, it's kind of difficult to tell because there's a bit of glare here. But there are my little petals. So it's the same, it's all the same color beads in the petals. It's just the outside ones are larger and the inside ones are smaller. Really like that. My thinking is that I'm going to trim around the flower petals and then blanket stitch with some embroidery floss, just because. I think that might look kind of cute. And then I'm thinking I will probably, I'm going to sew it to the clip. I had thought about using the glue gun, but I actually think it'll be faster if I sew it, and it won't be as messy, and I won't worry about the glue snapping off the metal. I'm going to sew it down because this really isn't that big. So needle in needle book. I'm going to trim down the petals carefully. See how well I can do that. And then I'm going to leave a little bit though, and then I'm going to, let's pick a color. Do I have a hot pink? I have a soft yellow. I have a soft pink. Soft pink might be cute. I don't think I've really got, oh, well, I've got like a magenta. No, that's too dark. Is it? Is the magenta too dark? All right, so consider a blanket stitch all the way around the little petaled edges, very small, I might add. Is the magenta too dark? Is the light pink too light? The magenta will act as framing. The light pink will fade in below the beads. I'm kind of leaning towards the magenta. Light pink, magenta. Light pink, magenta. Kind of leaning towards the magenta. The magenta will create like a bit of a frame. You know what? You're right, Shell. The glue would catch more in my hair. Even if it was just like a little dab, it's gonna catch. So definitely we're gonna sew. I'm thinking, the magenta's kind of, but the pink. Do I want the magenta to stand out? Burgundy, yeah, you know what? That could be burgundy too. It's a purpley wine color. I think I'm gonna go with the light pink. I don't think I want it to stand out now that I'm looking at it in front of me. So let's trim this down. Whew, okay. Let me think very carefully about what I'm doing here because I don't want to accidentally cut any of my little stitch snips or little I don't want to cut any of my actual threads. And I still want to leave a little bit. Okay, that's one. That looks good. Okay, so far so good. Oh man, this is, see, and there's stubby little leaves, or petals, like the leaves are, the petals are on the stubby side. I like the word stubby. So it's not, they're not going to flop. Okay. Do not cut thread. Do not cut thread. I think I'm safe. All right. There's my little, okay, that looks a little bit more. Let's take a closer look. So now that I've cut it, I've got some little fluffs. Those will disappear, I guess, while I'm... Now I'm going to blanket stitch all the way around the edge, and then I'm going to sew it using the white sewing thread so I can sew in between the beads. I'm going to sew it to the clip. That's the plan. See if it works. So is this too thick if I use one whole thickness of pink? Is it too thick? No, it's not. Not for these purposes. Okay, so snipperoo. And I want my embroidery needle. That one will do. Okay, I'm going to just start right down close to the inside edge. And here I go. I guess I will make my blanket stitches about as far apart as my little beads are. So I'm kind of putting the needle in between the beads. That kind of is a nice, easy to follow marker. If I get it on the inside of the bead thread, I can also help clamp down the beads with this, which makes it kind of nice too. Oh yeah, that's... I think the light pink was the right choice. It's not going to show up the pretty pink beads. And this is helping to make it feel a little stiffer, so that's nice. It also is taking down the, it's going to sort of even out the edges so that the fluffy felt won't be as fluffy or felty. I'm just inventing words here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, sure. It doesn't even look that bad from behind, you know. That's the nice thing about the blanket stitch. It is just this pretty little kind of, it's a really neat and tidy edging. I know it's nice for finishing off, like it kind of helps keep things from fraying. Not that felt is going to fray, but it also just makes things look kind of neat and tidy. Plus, doing it around these beads is actually kind of fun. Turns out I had enough to do the whole thing too. That's going to be some kind of a record. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how about oh my gosh, this is pretty darn cute. Now, if it sits in my hair, you're going to see this. You're not going to see the ends don't really matter because my hair is really dark. Well, most of the time. But I can still put it on so that it's kind of the lengthwise. But I think I'm going to go with the white thread. I'm not going to use this to sew it down. So let me just knot this off. I'm going to knot it the same way I did when I started. Well, hello, Ms. Rabbit. Look who's joined the party. Two boxes of pony beads? What? Is it a weighted crochet blanket? Yeah. Or is it like, I don't know, an entire house made out of beads? That sounds cute. Okay, so there is my first flower. Oh, wow, that is so darn cute. Okay, and now I want to sew it to the outside edge and not the inside edge. So let's get the white thread going. This is where it could all fall apart. I'm just going to hold it and sew as best I can. So I don't know quite, I just want to go right over the beads. Yes. Yeah, so if I use the white thread and I sew through the beads, the thread is just going to come down on either side of the bead. That's the theory. There we go. Which means I can sew a little tighter. Oh, it's a rug. Oh, wow, that's going to be so cool. I will, of course, require photographic evidence of this rug. Or at the very least, send me a picture of all the beads. All right, I'm going to hop over to the other side. constantly making sure that my beads are getting stitched down with every single little stitch. I'm kind of getting in between the beads, which is kind of nice. It's just adding a little extra, I don't know, a little extra security to the beads. Yeah, this isn't going to go anywhere. I'm going to go here. No, I don't like that one. Okay, let's see if I can unsew that. There we go. All right, that'll do. And one more. All right, I would say that's on there pretty well. I will knot off. There. Okay, so that worked out. So here's the little clip. I've stitched it on. You can sort of see that along the back, but it's better than glue. Like Shell says, the glue would probably, like your hairs might get caught around the glue, and or the glue being kind of not sticky, but you know, like that sort of stop texture that some things have, like it's a non-skid texture, non-slide texture. The hair might have wanted to like get kind of like would rub funny on it. So not using glue gun, probably better. Plus, it's a metal clip. It might have wanted to peel off the metal clip eventually. So sewing it on, I think, makes more sense. It's a little, because it's felt and the beads are all individually sewn down, it's got flexibility, so it moves with the clip like that. It's stiff enough because the petals are stubby, kind of chubby, that it won't flop. So let's just put it right on here. There. I like it. Yes! It's not over the top, but it's sparkly. It's small, but it's not so small that you don't see it. I am going to make another one exactly like it. I am going to make another one exactly like it. Will I do it right now? No, because the light is starting to change and I don't want it to get too dark and weird in here. So I'm going to leave it at one adorable clip today, but I will make a second one exactly like it so that I have a match set for my hair, because I think that's so cute and it worked out so well. And I'm pretty sure I have enough beads left to do the second one to look identical. And I do like a matched pair when I have the patience to do it. Okay. Just a little quickie today, a little quick hair barrette. I thank you for spending some time. Jessica, I know you just got here, but it's just a flick on the camera. when I have the time and the inclination, and I wanted to make pretty haired barrettes today, so that's what I did, and I'm very glad that it worked out the way it did. I am quite tickled with that. Ha! A little flower. It says spring. A little bit of sunshine. The sun has just gone behind a cloud. It's probably going to be behind a cloud for a while now. I have a feeling we might be getting more snow. Of course we're going to be getting more snow. It's only March. March just started. But spring is coming. It's coming. It's coming. And that's my little herald for the spring. And I will have two. I will make two. Thank you guys. Thank you for hanging out and spending a little time with me. I hope this helped a little bit of, maybe a little bit of inspiration for something, anything. I don't care. Flower related, beading related, anything related. And if not, just thanks for the company. I hope I could provide the same kind of company. I'm going to pop into the chat just briefly to sort of make sure I didn't miss anything. We're talking about, oh yes, all the beads. I am looking forward to seeing this purple beaded rug. That's going to look really neat. All right. Thank you again, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful evening. I may see you again this week. I might not, but I will definitely see you soon. I'm going to say that. Remember, stay safe, stay crafty, stitch your own story. That's what I'm doing here. My story includes pretty little flowered hair beads, hair beaded pins for the spring. Have a great week. We will see you guys soon. Take care, and I have nothing pithy to say. Make something and make it fun. Bye, guys.